Able to hear me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 2 of SFR ACC Season 1. We are here at a very, very wet Zolder in Belgium. My name is Kieran Wright92. I am, of course, your lead commentator for this evening. I should be joined by Matty7Gamer, but Matty is we don't quite know where Matty is. I can only assume that he's forgotten that he's supposed to be doing commentary this evening, so just hasn't turned up. Which, I mean, isn't ideal, but it's the way we deal with things. It's fine, we will power through. So at the moment, I am doing comms on my own, but there is a very, very strong chance I will be joined by a very lovely, slightly obnoxious Australian by the name of TES Sites, who is, as you've just noticed there, no longer in the session as a driver. What I may actually need to do is text him what the other password is going to be. Where is Mr. Science? Where is Mr. Science? There is Mr. Science. Comms password is that. Just in case. So we can see Dom the Noodle coming out. As you can see, we've got 6.5 minutes or so left of free practice. From what I've been told, it's going to be something similar in terms of this for the actual qualifying and race itself. So these guys are obviously trying to make sure that they can get as much practice in as they possibly can before everything gets started properly. But we'll stick on board with Dom. In fact, let's go properly on board with Dom. There we go. Let's go on board with Mr. Dom, who, as you can see, has done a significant number of laps here in practice. In fact, you know what? Let me go on board so you can hear the engine. Just a little bit of car engine noise for the wonderful car lovers out here in the world who may or may not be watching this evening. Unfortunately, this won't be like a couple of weeks ago when we were in Donington and I was actually able to name the corner names. With this being a Belgian circuit, I don't want to offend anyone with really, really badly mispronouncing the names. Mr. Big Will is in the chat saying, "Come on, Kirby." Obviously, Kirby is new to the ACC side of SFR. He was very much involved, very much involved in the F1 side of things, but a debut for Kirby here on ACC into driving the Porsche. So, why is Jackson posting... What is Jackson doing? Jackson, why are you posting random pictures in random servers? What are you doing? Okay, I'm not really sure what it is that Jackson's doing. We've got Mr. Vapid in as well. Good evening, Mr. Vapid. How are we doing, my friend? Can't tempt you to jump into the world of ACC, Vapid? You're not feeling like jumping in and joining us in the other league that we do here in SFR? Come on. I'm sure you do well, Vapid. I'm sure you do well. Come and join us. Right, that's enough for Dom. Let's get Dom out of the way. Who else have we got on track? Who could we... Let's have a look at Hoo. Another new driver, making his debut in ACC. In the Audi, so similar to what we did with Dom, with 3 minutes to go in free practice, I will go onto an onboard so you can hear what this Audi sounds like. So enjoy. And there we go, just a little insight as to what that Audi of Hoo sounds like. Here's the one of two drivers driving the Audi this evening, the other being just Geordie NL. Obviously one of the reserve drivers on the F1 side of things here in SFR, making his debut on ACC as well. We should have a few more drivers jumping in before we do get racing. I will give you guys a little bit of an overview on the format for this evening's festivities. The drivers, as you can see, have got about a minute and a half left of this free practice session. That will then be followed by a 30-minute qualifying and an hour-long race. Yes, you heard me right, ladies and gents, an hour-long race. 1 hour, straight racing, with a mandatory pit stop, so every driver will have to stop at least once to put fuel into their car and change their tyres. We're expecting that window to open, so there'll be about a half an hour window, I think it's about half an hour, during the race, where all drivers have to complete their pit stops. But obviously, I'll explain all this more as the session progresses. As Hoo bounces off a wall, a couple of times he bounces off the wall there as he hits a 43.8 and jumps himself back into his pits. Let's see who else we've got on track. Who have we got on track? We've got Papa Goose on track. We have an Alpaca Carbon. We haven't had a listen of the Aston Martin engine yet. So, well, we're not going to get a listen of the Aston Martin engine because Alpaca Carbon is unfortunately not moving. But that is going to bring us to the end of free practice with TS Bowen, or TS Leclerc, leading the timing screen once again. Of course, the man who won last week's race, or not last week's, 2 weeks ago, so round 1 over in Donington. He was, of course, victorious in that race. It has been confirmed to me that I will be joined by TES Science very, very shortly. He is just going to observe a driver's briefing with our race steward and race director, Mr. HT1D Raver. So he will be giving all the drivers a little bit of a briefing as to what he expects from the drivers come the race and qualifying, obviously, as we are currently stuck watching the back of an Aston Martin of Mr. T.S. Leclerc, and I have been joined in the party by a man who was supposed to be racing here but couldn't handle the banter being thrown at him by the race director. So he's come to join me in a comms box instead, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. He's everyone's favourite Australian, TS Science. Hi, Jackson.
Hey, how's it going, Karen? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Oh,
How
okay.
are we, my friend?
Doing quite well. Stayed up, was looking to race, and Papa Goose's car still looks like a dune buggy. He's got no body panels whatsoever.
He definitely does on my screen. On
Oh,
the stream, he definitely has body panels. So I'm not quite sure what you're watching, Jackson, but definitely has body panels on the stream. Sarah's in the chat. Good evening, Sarah. How are you, my lovely? Welcome into the stream. Welcome to a very wet Zolder here in Belgium for round 2 of SFR ACC. Yes, Alfie, you did hear the Aussie boy. Mr. Science is joining me in commentary for this evening. So, I suppose it's sort of a good thing that Jackson has come to join me in the comms box because, obviously, you've not long come off of this track. How wet is this track?
I can definitely say it is moist. Definitely right at the start of practice, it was very wet. It was like driving in a bathtub after you've just drained it. The car, a lot of drivers were actually complaining that the rear tyres were locking up and the rear end was actually kicking out. So hopefully they can get their problems sorted and put in a good lap in quali.
Indeed. We have started that qualifying session. We've just watched Papa Goose. Noodle has requested I try and do this once. Making his way, he's making his way up to Jackie X-Bot, which is turn 10 here at Zolder. I'm going to try and see if we can find someone who's coming up to the corner that Dom really, really wants me to be able to say, because he is very much a pain in my derriere. Who have we got? We've got the 25. In fact, you know what? We've got the 25 car of Dom the Noodle Poodle. Pot Noodle. Whatever you want to call him. We'll jump on with him as he approaches said corners. Because he's the one that really, really wants me to name these corners. And this will give you an idea, ladies and gents, as to why we're not going to be naming them for the entirety of the race. He's just come through Kleiner Chicane. He is now coming around the long left-hander of Butt. Yes, you've heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. That corner is genuinely called Butt. He is now making his way through the Terlamenbocht, which is a complex of corners here. Corners, so it's that little chicane. And then this right-hander here. And now coming down towards the corner that Dom really, really wanted me to name, which is the Boulderberghaar Speldbocht, which is this corner here. You can now see, ladies and gents, why we're not going to name every single one of these corners this evening. Because if we did, I would probably lose my voice pretty quickly. I'm not going to lie. So, we will just be naming the corners by number this evening. Apologies to anyone who does want me to use the actual terminology. But unfortunately, you're not going to be that lucky this evening. So if we go and look at the timing screens, no one's set a time yet. So people just doing a few reconnaissance laps as Noodle has decided he's going to do a little half spin there. Playing up to the cameras, obviously realised that he was being shown on stream. In normal Dom the Noodle fashion, ever the showman. We'll jump on with Papa Goose. We'll use the helicam. And the Honda driver can do. Obviously didn't
He's definitely not having the best of quality so far. While you were talking about corners and the butt, he actually is locking up, and like I said, I was problem that multiple drivers having. The rear end is actually locking up and sliding out on him. So it looks like he hasn't fixed that problem yet.
He has not, but we have had a time on the board. Just Geordie in the Audi. There is Just Geordie's Audi there. 1:51.519 currently at the time to beat. If I remember rightly, in free practice, I believe TAS Bowen or Leclerc got himself into the 49s. I think it was Jackson.
Oh, yes. Oh, Papa Goose is off in the wall.
Oh, where is he? There he is.
Oh, he's
Gone back to his pit box.
he
He's come back to his pit box.
had a crack of oversteer and straight into the wall. So hopefully he can get back out there.
Ideal.
Definitely not ideal.
Who is where on track? Geordie is coming up to Dom's favourite corner of Boulderberg Hartspeldbocht, or Turn 8, which is what we will be going by this evening. Just wanted to try and get the name in one more time for Dom, because I know he'll watch the stream back and he will be very happy that I used that name to that corner for him. And Geordie comes into the pits. So we'll see what Noodle can do now. Still got about 20 minutes or so left of qualifying. Just shy of 23 minutes to be exact. What we'll do is we'll jump on board with Dom so you can hear that Mercedes engine one more time as he finishes this lap. Just a little whine there of that Mercedes engine as Dom goes onto the grass and invalidates his lap and is going to jump back into the pits.
Dom has gone straight on to his local beach to build a sandcastle. Good to see he's out there supporting the kids in the sandcastle building skills.
Got to support that local community. Got to have that community spirit there from Dom the Noodle.
That's a gold star for him from me.
There we go. Dom's life is complete now. He has obtained a gold star from TES sites. He'll be a very, very happy Welshman this evening. Jackson, please tell me you have the stream chat up on your phone.
I do not. I shall get it up on my phone. Give me 2 seconds.
You might want to.
Why?
I'll screenshot what's been said, because obviously I don't really want to repeat what was said on stream.
But you can't. Okay.
But if you just have a quick look at
Let's have a look at this.
Mama McKinnon's message there at the bottom of that screenshot that I sent you. What is Jackson doing in the comms box? He was in the pre-practice session, Will. Couldn't handle the banter that was being thrown at him by Tice, so ran away from Tice and has come to join me in the comms box.
Yeah. Went from a...
It's probably the easiest way of putting it.
Exactly. Went from a scary grizzly bear to a cuddly teddy bear.
Exactly. A member of my family is hiccuping as he comes up the stairs.
And thank you, Will. I know I'm a sexy... that.
Wait, Jackson can't take banter. Apparently not, Will. Apparently not.
No, okay, I can take banter, but, you know... I do want to be a hazard on track to people.
I mean, you were spending more time off the track than you were on it.
Exactly. I was redoing the gravel tracks for the Zolder circuit. They asked me to do it, so...
He was doing a little bit of work. We've got Mr. Goose, who comes through Kleiner chicane on his way around to Jackson's favourite corner on this track, purely because it's called Butt.
Yeah. I love good old Butt.
God's sake. Oh, when did I agree to have you in the comms box? Why on earth did I agree to have you in the comms box?
I don't know.
Jackson is usually the main cause of banter in the party. It's very true, Will. He is.
Exactly.
He is indeed. And we've got Adam Lee just behind Papa Goose on track. Another person representing the Mercedes team. Of course, is the team that Jackson is also a part of.
Supposed to be.
When he doesn't get a wet track and hides.
Yeah, pretty much.
An absolutely stonking lap time here from Adam Lee. 11 minutes and 24 seconds.
Oh, I think
What
that's
a
the
lap
quickest
time.
of the session. That should be the quickest of the session. 100%.
So, what I should say for that, ladies and gents, just for a little bit of context, everyone's lap counter starts from 0 the second the session starts. So if you don't go out straight away, you will have a first lap time similar to Mr. Adam Lee's there. Jackson is always making people's days with his banter and jokes.
He's making me blush.
I mean, someone's got to.
Yeah, well, true. I ain't got a missus to do it for me.
Right, so I've just noticed we have had a 10th driver jump in. Who is that 10th driver? It is Sambo and F1XL Norris.
Aha!
Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. F1XL Norris.
Liverpool's number one fan.
Of SFR, number one fan of Liverpool Football Club.
And Jeff is his best mate.
And, of course, Jeff from Formula 1 is his best mate. So if you do play the Formula 1 game and you do need any queries answered in regards to what Jeff is doing, please direct all of your questions to F1XL Norris and he will be happy to answer them. And myself and Jackson are now dead. It's the easiest way of putting it. But, yeah, it's all fine. So, Adam Lee. That is a very, very respectable time there by Adam Lee. Very, very respectable time there by Adam Lee. It is a 1:45.522. It's just short of 4/10 slower than Dom the Noodle. As he gets out of the way for someone who was coming through on a hot lap. I believe it was Papa Goose. It was indeed Papa Goose. Timely reminder, F1XL is a Liverpool fan and Jeff and his best mate is Jeff. Indeed, Will. See, Will knows. Your timely reminder, your streamly reminder, your daily reminder that F1XL Norris is a Liverpool fan and Jeff is his best mate. If Matty watches the stream back, he's genuinely going to kill me.
He's going to kill us both, but I could care less.
It's fine. Oh, there's a very slow-moving Adam Lee there. As we have Papa Goose, who is further along the track than Mr. Adam Lee. In fact, Hoo is on his way out. So we will keep an eye on him as well. I think someone else is about to leave as well. That is Noodle. Dom the Noodle Poodle. As Papa Goose decides he didn't want that advertising board to be where it was on the side of the track. Thought he'd just bring it out into the middle of the track for everyone to be able to potentially drive over. But we'll ride on board with Mr. Goose now. There he is. Coming up to Jackie 6bot, which is basically Jackie's 6th corner. Or Jackie X corner. So, we are assuming that all of the words of bocked when we give the corner names, ladies and gents, is the word for corner. If we have got any Belgians in the chat, please let us know and just confirm that that is indeed the case. On the note of the Porsche, let's see, is Kirby out on track yet? He's not, but there is Kirby's Porsche for those that would like to have a look. have a quick look actually at the cars that are currently in the pits. We've got TES Bowen in the SFR liveried Aston Martin. Got the red, the blue.
Looking sexy as always.
There. Does look very, very nice. Alpaca Carbon in the other Aston Martin. 2 of 3. Using a slight variation of TES Bowen's SFR liveried Aston Martin. Going with a slightly brighter colour there instead of the red. And then the third of them is F1XL Norris, who again has done something very, very similar to the other two. All using a similar sort of livery with a slight change in colour. There's Mr. Samba in his Lexus with Adam Lee alongside him, as Mr. Norris is on his way out. There he is. There is that variation of the SFR livery on Mr. Norris's Aston Martin. But we'll jump back there. You've got 3 cars there. You've got Tia Sambo, Huhuku, and Adam Lee there. Huhuku in the Audi, Sambo in the Lexus, and Adam Lee in the Mercedes. Kirby is out on track. There he is in that Porsche. And he goes for a little bit of a spin, and he's bounced it off a wall. Showing you just how treacherous it is here in Belgium, how wet it is on this track, and how easy it is to hit a wall should you get onto a curb, Jackson.
Sorry, what was that?
So just showing how easy it is to spin your car if you get onto that one of those curbs.
Oh, it's very easy. I did it. Well, like we said, I did it many of times. I spent more time in the kiddie litter than on track.
You did indeed. You can see the procession of the Aston Martin cars now out on track. Alpaca Carbon with TES Leclerc just behind him. Time to beat is still Noodle, a 1:45.1. Not dissing Belgium, Alfie. Let's go see what Mr. Norris is up to. There is Mr. Norris. In fact, who is actually closest to starting a lap? Noodle's just gone faster, actually. Noodle's just dipped into the 44s. A 1:44.997 there for Dom the Noodle. It's a very good time there, to be fair, by the young pot Noodle there.
It's definitely a very good lap. Very respectable, that's for sure.
I think the Astons are just starting their laps. They are indeed. Kirby is taking a little bit of a scenic route. Where's Huhuku? Huhuku is on an outlap. Yes, you do, Alfie. There's the number 5 car of Huhuku. Ooh, back end stepped out a little bit there as he comes around that final corner. On the run up to line now to start his first flying lap. A 19 minutes and 1 second first lap time there for Huhuku. As just Geordie moves out of the way of both Huhuku and Adam Lee, who's currently in second place in this qualifying session. Only 4 times set so far, but we still have a fair bit of time left in this session. We have, what, about 10 minutes to be exact? 10 and a half minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
So you will start seeing times come out now. So let's jump to Alpaca, because he is slightly ahead of TES Bowen. So let's jump on board with Alpaca Carbon. Give you a chance to hear this Aston Martin as he comes up to the line. It is unfortunately going to be an invalidated lap time though for Alpaca Carbon. It's not ideal for the Aston Martin driver. It would have been a 1:47.0 by Mr. Alpaca Carbon there. TES Bowen, I think, potentially same thing.
Yes, I can confirm Bowen did invalidate. He invalidated into butt.
Here we go. No, Alfie. We are not doing The only person not to have completed a lap yet is TES Sambo, who's still in his pit box. Let's see, we've got Norris. Where's Norris?
Oh.
He's recently invalidated as well. He's coming through turn... What would that be? Turn 2? Turn 3? Yeah, on his way up to turn 3 now. Turn 4, sorry. Lucien Bianchi bot, which I believe just means Lucien Bianchi corner. I'm kind of intrigued. I might actually find out what bocht means. Let's do a little translate whilst we are watching these cars on track do their thing. In fact, let's go on board with Mr. Norris. He's still on for a valid lap time as it goes. Okay, so bocht is bend. So the word bocht is bend. So this is Boulder Berghaus spelled bend.
That's a bit better. Doesn't sound so much like a tongue twister.
Indeed. Coming up to Jackie X Bend now. I think if we replace the word bocht with bend, we might be able to get away with naming these corners as they're supposed to be named. Let's see, what can Norris do? P4. 47.6 there for Mr. Norris. And seeing as he's not long picked up the game, I think he's only had the game for
it's very good.
A couple of weeks or so. It's a very, very good lap time there for F1XL Norris.
I would not be surprised, give it time, and this man will be very quick. I know what he's like on track in F1, for instance, and give it time and he'll... I would not be surprised to see him pull out a shock podium at some point.
You've heard it there, bold words there from Mr. Sights, saying that F1XL Norris could potentially get a podium at some point this season in SFR ACC. So if he does get one, just remember that TES Science called it at round 2. So just remember that one. Kirby is indicating to go into the pits. No, he's got his indicator on. I don't know whether Kirby realises he has his indicator on.
And just for
Kirby,
you,
are you aware you have your indicator on, my friend?
And just
Kirby,
for you, Alfie, good day, mate.
Turn it off. There it is.
I just seen your comment roll through, but yeah, good day. Good day, Mike.
And there we go. TES Leclerc, Jamie doing Jamie things at a 1:44.775. That's 2/10 faster than Dom the Pot Noodle Poodle. And currently puts himself at the top of the timing screen. So we have got, what, 6 minutes left of qualifying?
Yes,
About
6 minutes left.
So TS Bowen leads the way at the moment with a 1:44.775. Dom the Noodle 2.222 behind. So 2/10 behind there. Further half a second back is Adam Lee, and then we've got a big jump. 2.1 seconds between Adam Lee and Papa Goose. I know Papa Goose really is struggling with the wet conditions. He struggled a couple of weeks back in Donington, struggling here in Zolder. How hard is it, Mr. Science, to drive one of these cars in these conditions?
Oh, for me, I'd probably say it's fairly hard because this is considered flooded. Like, there is standing water absolutely everywhere. But the car's very twitchy, I would say. But it's definitely a handful. That's for sure.
There we go. You've heard it here first from a man that was about half an hour or so driving on this very track since run away from his car, spoken to his race engineer and his crew chief, and has gone, nope, I'm not racing tonight, I don't like it, it's too wet, I'm not doing it.
That's
I'm
exactly
going
what
to come and
happened.
join Kieran in the comms box.
There was no abuse hurled at anyone.
He ran away and has come to join me here in the commentary box. I've gone. Some would say I've gone from one childish human being to another, replacing Matty 7 Gamer with TAS Science, but it's all good.
Hey, it's an upgrade.
It is. It's definitely an upgrade from who I'm going to be doing comms with tomorrow night. Let's put it that way. Love you, Sways.
Yeah, we all love your Sways. Don't worry.
Of course,
Just remember, Derbyshire.
That is your indicator and your reminder that I will be live again with TES Swayze tomorrow from 8 PM for round 3 of the SFR F1 Championship, season 5 of that, of course. Here
Where I will be on track.
PM. This time, that time Jackson will stay on track in his Alfa Romeo. Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? And I believe we are at Singapore.
Yes, we are.
There we go. So Singapore, Marina Bay Circuit tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Let's see what Mr. Carbon can do. Is Mr. Carbon still valid? He's not. He's invalidated his lap.
A very good lap just put in by Bowen. A 1:43.9. He picked up 8.5 tenths. So looks like the track is definitely roaring up.
It is indeed. Kirby goes very, very wide there as we jump on board. Huhuki making his way through turn 6. Jackson's favourite corner.
You know it.
Into turn 7, which is to Lamon Bend. Let's quickly just jump onto drive and see if he's valid. He is still valid. So into the final 2 minutes now of qualifying. Let's see if Huhuku can continue to line everything up here. Looking at his delta compared to his last lap time, he is about 13 seconds slower. So not potentially having the best of times is the Audi driver there of Huhuku. But we shall see what his time is as he comes up to the line. It is going to be faster. So I'm not quite sure why it was saying it was going to be 14 seconds slower than his last lap time, because it's definitely not. That is a 1:45.666 by Huhuku, and that is him up into P4. So Bowen leads the way, a second ahead of Dom the Noodle, who now has the exact same time as Adam Lee. So Adam Lee has been able to put in a time exactly equal to Dom the Noodle, with Huhuku a further 6 tenths behind. We've got Norris in 5th, Papa Goose 6th, Josh Geordie in 7th, Alpaca Carbon, obviously the man that had to take that little risk a couple of weeks back, which didn't go his way unfortunately in Donington. Tried to hold out for as long as he could in the hope that the weather dried up, and it didn't do so. He ended up losing out on a potential win. Lost out to his Aston Martin teammate TES Bowen. But he has put in a lap time enough for P4. We'll see where is Sambo. Sambo is on his way up to the Boulderberg Harspeld Bend, or turn 8. In that lovely Lexus. A good starter car for people who are trying to get themselves into ACC. So if you are looking to get yourself a Assetto Corsa Competizione and you want to get yourself involved in the ACC League and you want to look for a car to drive, it's probably one of the better ones to go for. It's one of the nicer ones to get used to. So that is unfortunately going to be qualifying over for TES Sambo. A 1:58.8, but I don't think it's valid. It wasn't invalidated lap time, so that is going to be the end of that for Mr. Sambo.
He's gone to clear the water from the kitty litter. Want to clean up after everyone?
Indeed, he's going for a little clean-up job there. But as you can see, the flag has dropped. Qualifying is over. Drivers have about 40 seconds to be able to finish off any potential laps that they may or may not be on. And then we will move ourselves into the race itself, where we will then be driving for an hour. That's right, you will have to listen to myself and Jackson for an hour.
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no one wants to listen to me for an hour. Jackson, probably. Me? Yeah, I don't know. Bad enough you guys have got to put up with me on a Saturday.
Who wants to listen to me, though? Let's be real.
I'm sure
I
there's
chat
at least
shit.
one or two people in the chat that want to... But that is your qualifying there, guys. TS Bowen leads the way. Dom the Noodle, Adam Lee, Alpaca Carbon, Huhuku, F1XL Norris, Papa Goose, Just Geordie, all setting lap times with Kirby. Jackson is still showing as being there, but he wasn't.
I'm respected, boys.
And Sambo finish off your order. I wonder if that means that you'll actually show up for the race as well.
Shouldn't.
Either way, you're going to get a did not start on the standings, unfortunately.
Hour.
It's fine because you had a much better job.
Points. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to keep you company.
Exactly. Seeing as my normal co-commentator let me down this evening. So we will be having words with Mr. Matt Valander. Nah. we say that, but we had an idea that he wasn't going to turn up tonight. He's very, very busy with work at the moment, so...
Which is understandable.
The session has now ended. Yep, it is indeed understandable. Let's quickly just, for my own reference... do that, just so I can then potentially have some fun with a few little things. The Merc drivers showing consistency. They are indeed, Dom. They are indeed. Second and third. Unfortunately, the third person let you down.
And I heard the third driver, he got the flu. Yeah, he got the flu. It was too wet, and he just had to... threaten the team boss with, his good old mate Greg, the boxing kangaroo, and he didn't like it.
Alright, there's some rain in this session, so watch out for slippery curves and remember to brake early.
Here we go. So here is your timer there, guys. 3 minutes and 45 seconds before we go racing. So what we'll do, guys, is... we'll quickly run through what the numbers mean next to everyone's driver numbers. You can see that little green box with the number 1 in it. That means that the drivers have to complete a mandatory pit stop. So at some point during this race, a mandatory pit stop window will open. During that time, all drivers have, we believe it's going to be about 20 or 30 minutes to go through and make their mandatory pit stop. In that pit stop, they have to change their tyres. And they have to add some fuel to their car. Once they've done that, they are fine. They are clear to continue racing for the rest of the race. Should you get damaged and have to come into the pit before that window opens, you will still have to serve a pit stop during that window. So be very, very careful with what you decide to do with your cars prior to the window opening. It will be an hour-long race, 60 minutes plus 1 lap to see who comes out on top here in this Belgian circuit of Zolder. Let's go race predictions. Jackson, who's going to win?
Ooh. I think just going off the back of last week and seeing what I watched after the race, I'm going to go with the win. I'm going to back to back. I'm going to give it to Bowen. Just because I know he can be very consistent. He rarely makes mistakes with, track limits and can control the car. Absolutely amazing. Second, I can't pick a certain person, but if I have to, I'm gonna give it to our Packer. Just because I know he can be quick. Yet again, pretty much the same as Bowen. They know what they're doing. They've got their heads screwed on. They know how to control and drive the car. For third, though, I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm going to call it this race. F1XL Norris to podium.
There we go. So that is Jackson's prediction. I am going to go a slightly different way. I am going to say Alpaca Carbon will make up for the mistake of last week and will win this race here in Zolder. I'm going to back Dom the Noodle to finish second and TES Bowen to finish third. Bowl Reynolds to put the round one race winner down in third, but Dom looked to be really, really strong there in practice and in qualifying, so I'll back Dom to get himself ahead of Bowen. I think Noodle will jump Bowen off the start as well.
Yeah, I think he will get the jump on him, but he can't go obviously too early, otherwise he will get automatic drive-through, I believe it is.
Yep.
If not, I'm sure the very lovely and nice race director will look at it.
Of course, we have got a live race director watching from a private, secret, unannounced, secluded location. Basically, it's HT1D Raver at home watching in race director mode. It's nothing that important, I'm not gonna lie. But obviously everyone has to drive in formation, and we're going to get green lights, and we are about to go racing here in Zolder. And it's green, 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 green. We are racing here in Zolder. And Hoo Alpaca Carbon, Carbon almost has a spin. Adam Lee pretty much helps him out there, keeps him facing the right way, but Hoo has had a fantastic start, Jackson. He's up into second.
He's definitely had a great start. He capitalised on drivers' early mistakes in the start there and got himself in a good position.
He has indeed, but he's coming under pressure from Dom the Noodle now. Just remember, this is not a sprint. This is very much a marathon. These drivers will be racing for the next hour as Noodle goes very, very tight across that chicane and does hand that position back to Hoo. It was a legal manoeuvre. And Dom's now coming under pressure from Adam Lee behind him as well. His Mercedes teammate. And Bowen's round! Hoo's round as well! Hoo's going to have to slow down to let the other drivers through, because it was an illegal manoeuvre there by Hoo and Dom the Noodle and Adam Lee, both of the Mercedes drivers, have capitalised, and they are 1-2 on this track, Mr. Science.
Oh no!
Hoo Carbon!
The teammates have come together.
Norris has had a collision with Hoo. It's absolute carnage here in the rain in Zolder. I think the wet conditions are catching quite a few of these drivers out. And they are really, really struggling here, Jackson. Let's jump up to the head of the pack. Dom the Noodle and Adam Lee having a battle with each other side by side going into turn one. Adam Lee goes deep. He's gone way too deep. And Noodle is going to take advantage. He is now going to drive away and look to now build a gap between himself and the cars behind him. Currently 2.6 seconds, 2.5 seconds the gap to Adam Lee. 8.7 back to Norris for Dom the Noodle. Very, very good buffer in the early stages of this race. Got a funny feeling though, our race director, Mr. HT1D Raver, on debut is going to be a very busy man, Jackson.
Oh, 100%. Very shocking incident there though from Alpaca and Bowen. I didn't expect to see them two come together, but from what I could see, it looked like Alpaca's car kind of kicked out, and unfortunately, Bowen was just in the wrong, I suppose, the right place at the wrong time.
Indeed, he was, as Noodle still maintains the control of his Mercedes. Driving through these turns here. Something's happened a little bit further back.
I believe that was... I don't want to butcher his name. I'm going to call him Hoo Hoo.
Who?
I believe he went deep into the chicane off a butt. So...
It's not ideal. Alpaca Carbon you just saw there at the front of the screen there went a little bit wide. And Goose now under pressure from TES Boeing. This is a battle for 4th place. Guys trying to catch back up to the leaders. And Bowen's got a bit of a run on Papa Goose here. The Aston Martin versus the Honda. And TES Boeing, I think. Oh no, he's gone wide. They've both gone deep. They're both in the gravel. Who's going to get the better traction out? It looks to be Bowen. And it is going to be TES Bowen who gets the better traction ahead of Papa Goose. Papa Goose a little bit slow to get back on the power there. And he has lost that position to the Aston Martin driver there of TES Bowen.
Very interesting race so far. I think both of our predictions have been a bit blown out of the water.
They have. They have indeed.
Yeah, very shocked to see, I suppose, Adam Lee where he is. He did start 3rd or 4th, I believe, and picked up a couple of positions, and now is settling quite well and pulling away from Norris. Oh, big lock up and slide from Bowen.
Oh, he's round.
Lock up.
He's gone round. That is not going to help Bowen. All of that hard work he did to get himself ahead of Goose. And he's lost those positions again. And this time he's further back because he's not only been passed by Papa Goose, he's lost positions to Hoo Hoo and Alpaca Carbon as well. A lot of work for Bowen to do now to try and see if he can get himself back.
Oh,
big massive collision there into turn 8 between Hoo Hoo and Carbon.
And the lights have come on.
The lights have indeed come on.
I still see the Dune buggies, helicopter propeller fling around the air for me.
So, for context, ladies and gents, the Dune buggy, as Mr. Science is referring to him, is Papa Goose for some reason on Jackson's end. There are no body parts no body panels to the Honda there of Papa Goose. So
it's also all
Jackson
electric.
is able to see. He's a Dune buggy, as he likes to call it.
Oh, I think something's happened to...
Adam Lee has taken Noodle because Noodle has gone for a little spinella. He's now going to come under pressure from F1XL Norris. Let's jump on and watch this. Here comes Norris.
Is
charging.
Dom going to play nice?
Past Noodle, he does play nice. Cedes the position to F1XL Norris in the Aston Martin. You can see the dry line starting to form now, Jackson, around some of these corners.
Definitely can see it. Also, in some spots, it's completely stopped raining. I don't know if that's because of tree cover or if the rain is easing. It definitely doesn't look like it's easing, though.
Doesn't look like it's easing, but of course, could be completely different to the guys who are out there
Exactly.
on track. Adam Lee leads a 150.9 there for the Mercedes driver. F1XL Norris is in second place. So at the moment, obviously we are still in the very, very, very early stages of this race. But Mr. Science's prediction is somewhat coming true. Norris is on the podium. Makes a mistake there though into turn 1. That is going to open the door for Noodle to take that position back from F1XL Norris. That is Noodle up into P2 once again. Looking to now try and see if he can close that 11-second gap that he has to Adam Lee. A big bit of work there for Noodle to be able to do here in this race. You can see there the gap 10.7, 11, 11.3. So it's about 11 seconds between Noodle and Adam Lee. So a lot of work for that Mercedes driver to be able to do to get himself back to the head of the field. We've got a yellow flag, I think. That's Kirby off track. It is Kirby off track. Heading in the wrong direction at the moment is young TM Kirby. Not ideal for the Porsche driver there. So he's got himself, almost had himself the right way.
Oh!
Got to make sure he doesn't get into that collision with Noodle and Norris. Almost does.
Dangerous there.
Wait for these cars to pass and wait for a clean gap for himself to be able to get through. Which he should be able to do now. T.S. Bowen is clear of him. And is still trying to hunt down Papa Goose.
Oh! Norris has a lock up and went deep.
Just a little bit of time to Noodle following that lock up there. It's not ideal for Norris. There is Papa Goose under pressure from T.S. Bowen. We are about 10 minutes into the race. We are a sixth of the way there, ladies and gents. I'm expecting, if the first race of the season was anything to go by, the pit window should open in about 5 minutes' time. So at about the 45-minute mark remaining, and it will stay live for, I believe, it's about half an hour. But we shall see. Here comes Bowen.
Oh!
Into the clandestine chicane. Is he going to be able to make a move on Papa Goose? I think Goose is going to hold on for now. Fantastic reaction there from Bowen, though. Fantastic exit from that chicane. And here comes the drag race through turn 6. But Bowen has to back out. Allows Goose to maintain that position for now. We will keep an eye on that battle as it progresses. You can see top left hand corner of the screen there, the gap between Adam Lee and Dom the Noodle has increased. Well, it had increased, but it has dropped down a little bit now.
Oh!
Back to about the 11-minute mark, or the 11-second mark, and Geordie is in the pits. Josh Geordie comes into the pits potentially to repair some damage. Let's just see if we can have a look. He's coming into the pits now. We'll see if he does have any repairs. We'll know by how long he is in the pits for. So he stops himself there in his pit box. And T.S. Bowen has made that move now on
Yes.
Papa Goose.
Papa Goose went a tad deep. Don't know what turn it is off by heart. But yeah,
Last
he
one? The one before it.
no, the one just before the little chicane before the pit entry.
Okay, yep. Turn 9, which is the Jochenrind bend.
Well, yeah, going into turn 9, he went a bit deep, and Bowen was able to get the switch back on him. So it was a very nice move.
There you go. Heard it here first, ladies and gents, from TES Science, filling in for Matty 7 Gamer this evening. Joining myself, Kieran Nadisu, in the commentary box, for round 2 of the debut season of SFR ACC. Mr. Tom Gorian is now in the chat. Good evening, Tom. How are you, my friend? Welcome in to the stream. Give you an idea of what the current standings look like at the moment. Adam Lee, your F1 teammate, leading the way. 11.5 seconds ahead of Dom the Noodle, with Norris in 3rd. Bowen, or TS Leclerc, as you will know him, in 4th. Papa Goose is in 5th. Huhuku 6th. Alpaca Carbon 7th. TS Sambo in 8th. Kirby in 9th. And Just Geordie has not long come out of the pits and is in 10th place at the moment. But still a lot of time left.
Anything could happen.
A lot of time left in this race. 46 minutes. 46 and a half minutes remaining in this race, so we're nowhere near the business end of this race just yet, as Norris goes a little bit deep there into turn 1. Decides that he wants to pick up a little bit of kitty litter. It's now under pressure from Monsieur Bowen, or Leclerc, however you want to call him. Doing well, lad. Just cheering on my teammate. Looking forward to tomorrow. It's fantastic to hear Vapid is there cheering on Kirby.
Ah, Vapid.
So,
yeah, he traded me in. Not talking to him. Traded me in for Will.
we did indeed trade you in for Mr. Big Will Jackson. So, for those who may potentially be wondering, the points system here in GT3 is slightly different to what most of you may be aware of in the world of Formula 1. Which of course is what SFR was known for, mainly before we branched out into new avenues such as ACC. So only the top 8 drivers pick up points here in GT3 racing, and if my memory serves me correctly, I believe first place gets 10 points, second place gets 8, third is I think 6,
Yes.
and then 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 for the remaining positions.
Blast off. I thought we were counting down from 10. Or
1, 2, 3,
Watching
4,
rocket ship.
5, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, that is correct. So yes, 10th place for the winner, 8th for second, 6th for third, and then 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 for positions 4th down to 8th. So there is TS Bowen looking to try and close down on this man here, Dom the Noodle. There is Adam Lee on his way around towards turn 7. Around the long left-hand bend there of turn 6. Dom the Noodle coming into the turn 5 chicane. So you can see a fair bit of time there. Is that Huhuku round? There is Huhuku round in the gravel trap there on the exit of turn 2. Turn 2.
yes.
Alpaca Carbon, the man I tipped to potentially win, at the moment not having the best of races. Interestingly, haven't had the pit window open yet. To my knowledge, no pit window has not opened just yet. So it's going to be a little bit later than it was last week. Last week it did open about 15 minutes in, so with 45 minutes remaining in the race. So as we said, it is going to open at a random point during this race for a predetermined amount of time. Obviously, I don't know how much time that is. I believe, well, last week, or the last time we raced in Donington Park, it was half an hour. But obviously, a little bit different. A little bit different this evening.
Oh, as Bowen has closed the gap to Noodle. Noodle runs deep into turn 1. Just sit on board with Bowen and see what happens.
We'll do the same thing. TS Bowen here, hunting down Dom the Noodle. Looking to try and get that second place back. At the moment, I've got second and third right for my prediction. Just saying. Just saying. Got my prediction there for... There is the pit window. Pit window has opened. 25 minutes. Drivers have 25 minutes to complete their mandatory pit stops. Dom gone deep. Dom's gone deep. Dom has gone very, very deep into the Kleiner chicane. That's going to open the door for TES Bowen to pick up second place back on track. And now he can start that hunt for Adam Lee. 19 seconds the gap between TES Bowen and Adam Lee. So a lot of work for TES Bowen to be able to do to get himself back onto the top step of that podium. But, as we say, still a lot of time left in this race. 41 and a half minutes there or thereabouts left in this race. As we come up to 24 minutes left in the pit window. So everyone has to complete all of their pit stops before 17 and a half minutes left in the race. My memory serves me correctly, if you do not serve your mandatory pit stop, you will be disqualified. So,
I believe so, that is correct.
definitely worth doing. Who will be the first person to get that green 1 away from their name? But that will be your reference point, guys, to know whether a driver has completed their mandatory stop or not. Perfect example here will be Papa Goose. Looks to be the first one to come in to pick up, or to do his pit stop, his mandatory pit stop. Alpaca Carbon has done the same thing. Both these guys will look to get their number 1s removed from the timing screens. So just keep an eye on those two drivers there, guys, Papa Goose and Alpaca Carbon. They are obviously going to start losing positions to the cars around them. Expect these guys to be stationary for about 30 seconds or so. What we normally expect a pit stop to be. So we'll jump back on with these guys a little bit later on. For now, we'll watch Norris.
We'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Here goes Mr. Norris trying to hunt down Noodle. We've got a yellow flag there. Who is that gone round? It's Sambo. Sambo has not had the best of times there. Hoo has obviously overtaken both Goose and Alpaca Carbon following them coming into the pits. Here comes Norris trying to hunt down Noodle. You can see Noodle in his sights. And there we go. You can see there, next to Papa Goose's name, that number 1 has disappeared. That number 1 has disappeared, which means the same with Alpaca Carbon. These guys have now completed their mandatory pit stops. They are now able to drive for the remaining time in the race. Oh! Alpaca Carbon has picked up a 30-second stop-go penalty from race control. That could potentially have been for speeding in the pit lane. That is not going to help Alpaca Carbon's race, as that was just Geordie going very, very sideways. Trying to see if he can unlap himself. So that's going to hurt Alpaca Carbon massively here in this race. A lot of work left now for Alpaca Carbon to be able to get himself back up to the business end of this grid. He has 3 laps to complete that 30-second stop-go. But I'll be honest, I'd expect to see Alpaca Carbon come into the pits this lap, at the end of this lap, and try and clear that stop-go penalty as quickly as he can. Sambo in the pits now. He is looking to serve his mandatory pit stop, but Adam Lee still leading the way here. 12 laps gone by Mr. Adam Lee to date. We've still got 37 minutes and 45 seconds left of this race here in Zolder. This is round 2 of season 1 of SFR ACC. If you have got a Assetto Corsa Competizione and you would like to get yourself involved in ACC, please, please, please think about joining our Discord. I believe if I do that, that should pull the Discord, and it does. There is the Discord link there, guys. If you are not you're not yet involved in the SFR Discord and are a racer, please, please, please consider jumping into the Discord. Get yourself involved in the racing action. Greatly, greatly appreciated to have you in. And as I said, if you do have a Assetto Corsa Competizione and you want to get yourself involved in the ACC League, please, please, please consider letting one of the admins know. Once you get into the server, we will get you involved with the relevant people and we can get you signed up as quickly as we possibly can to get you racing in 2 weeks' time when ACC is back on your screens. We will be live from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain for round 3 of the SFR ACC Championship. A 12 race season for SFR in our debut season. We have got the remaining races we have got we have Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in a couple of weeks' time. Following that, we will be travelling over to France to a race in the Circuit Paul Ricard. Round 5, the 1st of October, we will be live at Monza in Italy. You can see that Alpaca Carbon has now cleared his pit stop. TS Sambo, TM Kirby, Just Geordie all doing the same thing. It's the top 5 that need to come in and do what they need to do. So to say, round 5, beginning of October, we will be at Monza in Italy. And then we have the first of our 2 marquee races, as we are going to call them for this season. We will be at the Nürburgring in Germany. We call these the marquee races because you think this race is big. You think this race is long. Whew.
Oh, you haven't seen
Round
anything.
6. Round 6, Nürburgring, 15th of October 2021. You think this race is long? How long are the guys racing for the Nürburgring in round 6, Jackson?
Oh, yeah. That one's going to be a good one for me. We'll see how practice goes, and yeah, see if I can tolerate the banter from the race director.
Well, it will be a very, very long night for you if you can't, because of course that is 2 hours of the Nürburgring. That's right, 2 hours worth of racing on round 6 on the 15th of October. As Adam Lee comes into the pits from the lead, he's going to serve his mandatory pit stop. 18 seconds was the gap. T.S. Bowen chooses to stay out. He will now obtain once again the lead of this Grand Prix, of this race, I should say, here at the Circuit Zolder in Belgium.
I think
F1
something's
XL
happened
Norris.
to Dom.
Yeah, Noodle has dropped down a bit. He's been overtaken by F1 XL Norris. He's down into 4th place now. Norris ahead of Noodle now into 3rd. It will be a net P2 once Norris passes Adam Lee, which he does just now. So that is now F1 XL Norris up into 2nd place, as you can see there at the top left-hand corner of your screen. 33.5 minutes left of this race. 16 minutes left, just under, of the pit window. The only drivers yet to complete their mandatory pit stops are the top 4 drivers. In, I believe it's top 4. Has Huhuku done his yet? No, Huhuku has not done his yet, so it will be the top 4 drivers to a degree. Adam Lee, I think, has come out in P4, maybe? To come out ahead of Huhuku? I believe he has. He's coming out of the pits now. I think he is going to get just ahead of Huhuku. There is Adam Lee. Oh, he's gone deep. He's gone very, very deep on the exit of the pits. This could open the door for Huhuku to get past Adam Lee. Not able to get past him just yet, though. Adam Lee's really, really struggling with these fresh tyres. And he will have had put onto his car. You can see Hoo Koo, it's there. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen at the map, you can see just how close these two drivers are to one another. Now, of course, Hoo Koo still needs to serve that mandatory pit stop. On the note of mandatory pit stops, TES Bowen is coming in to serve his now.
And so is Norris. Norris is following him into the pits.
Norris has followed him in. Dom the Noodle. Is he going to follow suit? No, Noodle stays out. Noodle has decided that he's going to stay out. He's going to try and see if he can put a bit of a gap between himself, Bowen, and Norris. Can he do it, Jackson?
Oh, to be fair, showing his consistency and practice and quality, I generally think he can. He's just got to watch out. He's got to watch the gap between him and Adam Lee, though, because...
He's gone round!
Commentator's curse.
Commentator's curse for Dom the Noodle. He is round. This, of course,
And
is going to open the door.
I will take a refund on my words I've just said.
It's going to open the door for Adam Lee to potentially make a pass on Dom the Noodle. That is Papa Goose just behind him. He is a lap down compared to Dom the Noodle at the moment. 13.5 minutes left of the pit window. All drivers still have another 13.5 minutes, just under, to complete their mandatory pit stop. The only drivers yet to not do that are Dom the Noodle and Hoo Koo. Only two drivers yet to do their mandatories, as shown by the green one next to both of those drivers' names there. Hoo Koo there in 5th place. In fact, has Hoo Koo just... Oh no, there it is. Up into 3rd.
Hoo is in 3rd. So.
He is indeed up in 3rd. Just everything has just updated itself on the timing screen. So when we jump back onto that menu, we can see where everyone is. That updates itself on a sector-by-sector basis. We are halfway through the race now. Half an hour down, half an hour to go here in Zolder. A very wet, rainy Zolder here in Belgium. Hopefully you guys are enjoying what you are watching. Dom the Noodle currently leading the way with a 1:58.6 last lap time. A 1:48.2 is his best lap time so far. I might quickly just jump onto the timetable to see who's got the fastest lap. Oh, I just thought it's not that easy, is it? To go on to everyone individually to find out who's got the fastest lap, which is slightly annoying. Hoo Koo comes into the pits now to serve his mandatory pit stop. The only driver left to serve their mandatory stop is Dom the Noodle. Dom is looking to try and bridge a 30-second gap to Adam Lee. That is what Dom's plan is. It's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get 30 seconds or more ahead of Adam Lee. If he does that, theoretically speaking, he should be able to get out. Oh, Sambo!
Oh.
Has gone a little bit too deep. He's missed his braking point. And he's gone into the rear of Dom the Noodle. That is going to really affect that gap that Dom was desperately trying to bring up.
It's definitely a heartbreak for Dom, but I'm sure Mr. Raven is going to have a look at that and hand out what's appropriate for it.
I'm sure he will, Mr. Tice. If you are watching, that is an incident between cars 25 and 14. I'm sure you are very much aware of it. I know you are in a party with a number of the drivers, potentially all of the drivers. I'm not sure exactly, but I know you are in with quite a few of the drivers as we come into the final 10 minutes of this pit window. Huhuku on his way out of the pits now, having served his mandatory pit stop. Dom the Noodle with all of the work to do. He's gone
Dom is around in
too
the
hot.
wall.
He's gone too hot again. He's trying a little bit too much, I think, to try and get that gap between himself and Adam Lee bridged. And unfortunately for Dom, that was Adam Lee that recently passed him on that last spin. So Adam Lee regains the lead of this race. We jump on board with Adam Lee, give you an idea of what it looks like. There is Adam Lee. You can see Dom just behind him. Adam Lee, Huhuku, and then behind Huhuku is Dom the Noodle. Dom the Noodle, Dom the Poodle, Dom Pot Noodle, however you wish to call him. Fact of the matter, unfortunately, at the moment, Dom is... It's got a bit of work to do, Jackson.
Yeah, it definitely does. I got a feeling he may, if he's not careful, he may lose out to Norris. Sad to say, but I think he will.
There we go.
Yeah, let's just hope he can, suppose, pull something out of his backside and a big enough gap so it doesn't happen.
Of course, he is, as we say, the only car on track not to serve their mandatory pit stop just yet. Is that going to change now? Let's watch. Does Dom come into the pits? Does he stay straight? He does. He does remain straight there, coming into the pits. Noodle the Spinella Poodle, says Vapid in the chat. He's not had the best of times, of course. These are tyres that he has been driving on for what? We've got 25.5 minutes left, so 35 minutes or so. He has been driving on these tyres. So there was going to become a point where they were going to come and unfortunately hurt him. And it's exactly what has happened. There was a couple of drivers going very, very side by side there. So we try and find out who it was. It may have been Geordie and Sambo. In fact, it was Geordie and Sambo. Sambo is behind Geordie at the moment.
And confirmation from the lovely race director, our Packers penalty was for speeding in the pit lane.
There we go. Just as we thought it was. You go a little too fast in those pit lanes and you do end up getting punished. TES Bone has now reclaimed second place following the spins and the trip to the pits for Dom the Noodle.
And Dom has lost out to Norris.
He has indeed. There is F1XL Norris now up into P3. Dom the Noodle has now completed his mandatory pit stop. All drivers have completed their mandatory pit stops now. So 6 minutes and 40 seconds left of the window. Everyone has done what they need to do. So we are now just flat racing for the next 24 minutes. I think we're going to go on board with some drivers. Let you guys listen to some engines because I don't know about you, Jackson, but I do like the sound of some of these engines.
Oh,
We're on with
that
Norris at the moment. Well, we're on with Norris at the moment, so let's have a little listen to that Aston Martin engine. There is that wonderful Aston Martin there of F1XL Norris, giving you a chance to hear that engine. Jackson was talking about the Porsche
That Porsche. There's just something about it.
Let's have a listen to Kirby's car. He's currently down in P8 at the moment. First driving on ACC for Kirby, so give him a little bit of slack. But we'll jump on board and we'll have a listen to that Porsche engine now. Just that whine, isn't it, Jackson? It's just the whine of that Porsche.
Yeah, that one of that Porsche makes me feel fuzzy. That's for sure.
There you go. The sound, the whine of that Porsche makes Mr. Jackson feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Gonna be trying to see if he can catch up to Alpaca Carbon. 33 seconds the gap between himself and Alpaca at the moment, so fair bit of work for Mr. Kirby to be able to do, to be able to catch up to Alpaca. But of course he is currently in that final points paying position, so he will come out with points in his first race in SFR ACC. So I think he'd be pleased with that, wouldn't you, Jackson? Points on debut.
I'd be happy with that. It's always a good thing to aim for on your debut race, no matter what it is.
Let's see, who else shall we go to? Who else do we think we need to have a little listen to the engine of, Mr. Jackson?
Ooh. Well, one of the Audis.
One of the Audis?
Yeah.
Let's go for Mr. Hoo then. He is just here on track, attempting to try and catch Mr. Papagoose. 23 seconds the gap between himself and Papagoose in the battle for 5th place. Let's have a listen to the Audi. Why is that Audi giving me F1 vibes? It just sounds a little bit like an F1 car, doesn't it?
It does.
Sounds like an old school F1 car.
When they actually sound good.
Takes me back to the old days of F1. The cars actually sound good. Is that just ahead of Huhuku? That is an Adam Lee. Huhuku getting stuck in the spray of Adam Lee.
Oh, as Adam Lee runs a tad deep there, but it looks like.
He has gone a little bit wide there, isn't he? Into turn 3 there. We'll see whether Hukuku can try and unlap himself, because of course he is a lap down on Adam Lee. So what we'll do is we'll take a moment here just to give you guys an idea of the colouring that you can see in the bottom left hand corner of the screen with all the drivers. Oh, Jackson's seen something.
So, sorry to interrupt, but Adam Lee just had a very big lock-up like Dom the Noodle has a couple of times.
And there we go. So of course it is going to show.
The first chicane, so
it is going to show Hukuku blue flags. Technically, in GT3 racing, the car ahead does not have to yield to the car behind it. It's slightly different to the world of Formula 1, where in F1, if you get a blue flag, you have to move out of the way. In GT3 racing, it is... Oh, Adam Lee's gone very, very deep then! It is the job of the car behind to make their own way around the car that is being lapped. So, Huhuku was not in the wrong there for one, trying to unlap himself, and then two, not re-yielding that position to Adam Lee. He was well within his rights to continue driving in the way that he did. It was up to Adam Lee to make the change. As Adam Lee
he's in the pits.
As Huhuku passes the Porsche of Kirby there. And he's only now 17 seconds away from Papa Goose, well he was. And then the Lucian Bianchi bend comes to be the undoing for Hoo Koo. The pit window has officially now closed. So anyone who had not completed their mandatory pit stop is going to be in a lot of trouble. But we can safely say that all drivers have completed their mandatories. Let's see what Mr. Norris is. In fact, I think Norris has just jumped Adam Lee. He has.
Yeah, he's in P2. A bit of a shock. I didn't see him finish in P2, but I'd seen him contesting for third, so let's see what he can do, I suppose. See if he can bring it home.
16.5 minutes left of this race. Oh, an O from Jackson. What does Mr. Sainz say?
I think we have just had a disconnection. We have. Adam Lee has left the race.
Oh.
I don't know if that's just on my end or...
No, he's definitely left the session. He has definitely left the session. He did this in Donington as well. He was in a decent position in Donington as well. Got to the nighttime section where it got very, very dark. And the temperature started to drop. And unfortunately, he did end up leaving the race a couple of weeks ago as well, after a couple of spins in that race in Donington. It's going to be very bitterly disappointing there for Adam Lee. I know he would have wanted to do a little bit better there and try and keep himself on track. So we're down to 9. Down to 9 potential finishers.
Oh. Norris runs deep into turn 1.
Does indeed. Luckily, he is safe. Noodle is just coming through turn 8 now, on his way through turn 9, so he's a fair distance away from Mr. Norris. So Norris has a nice little buffer to Dom the Noodle. So as we were saying, so the colours on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, just so everyone can get an idea of what each of those colours means. So as you just saw there, as Dom the Noodle crossed the line, it temporarily went white and then has gone, TS Bowen's name has gone from white back to green again. So all the drivers who have names in white are drivers who are on the same lap as Noodle. So they are on the same lap as Dom the Noodle. Anyone with a blue name is a lap or more down from Dom the Noodle. So they are technically a lapped car to Dom. And anyone with the green name, so like TES Bowen, they are a lap or more ahead of the driver that we are currently viewing. There is a slow car ahead for Dom the Noodle, and it looks to be... Is that just Geordie? That was just Geordie. So Geordie, unfortunately, having a little bit of a moment through Butt there. So Dom was able to lap just Geordie once again and try and see if he can close that gap to Norris. Norris has just crossed the start-finish line as Noodle comes around to turn 8. Adam Lee has posted in the Discord, sorry guys, had to give up. Some reason my brakes were shot and was losing way too much time. If it hadn't happened, I would have had a good race with Leclerc as he was catching. So unfortunately, brake failure there for Adam Lee. Unfortunately, ending his race this evening here in Zolder. Hopefully he will be back in a couple of weeks' time when we head over to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain. A track which I know quite a few drivers aren't keen on. They do like to call it Spain without the S. What are your feelings on the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, Jackson?
Oh, it's a mixed one for me, really. Sometimes I love it. It's one of those tracks. Sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it. But I definitely agree it's Spain without the S most of the time. But you just gotta watch out for the curves and also turn 9, the uphill fast right-hander in F1 cars, but in these it's slightly not so quick. It's gonna be a good one. Can't wait for it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I should last that race.
There we go. You've heard it there from Jackson TES Science. Should be racing in 2 weeks' time in Barcelona. Hopefully, I will be rejoined by Matty7Gamer in 2 weeks' time as well, and we're back with the regular ACC commentary team. We were watching Mr. Norris, the man who Jackson tipped for a podium with 11.5
Sometime
minutes
this
to
season.
go.
And he's doing it right now.
27 seconds is the gap, I think, between himself and Papa Goose for losing that podium. I think. Actually, no, that is 26. So Papa Goose is 26 seconds ahead of Norris on track, and is a lap ahead. So a lot of work for Papa Goose to be able to do to try to see if he can take this podium away from both Dom the Noodle and F1XL Norris. So your boy's looking good, Jackson. Your boy is looking good.
He is looking good. Might just have to, celebrate it with a brand new Liverpool top for him.
There we go. Once again, a reminder by Mr. TES Science that F1XL Norris is a Liverpool fan and Jeff is his best mate. And he will definitely not appreciate me reminding everyone in the chat of that fact.
Oh well.
But it's fine. He'll live. So, let's just get into so easy way of doing this. TS Bowen and F1XL Norris at the moment are the only two drivers on the same lap. Dom the Noodle is a lap behind Norris, with Papa Goose and Hoo Hoo Coo and I believe Alpaca Carbon all on the same lap as him. Kirby is 3 laps back from the lead with just Geordie, and Sambo is a 4th lap back from the leader. That just gives you guys a bit of an idea as to where everyone is in terms of their positions on track. So if we jump to Noodle now, interestingly, it's still saying that Jamie is a lap ahead. I don't know. It's very strange. Of course, this is still a little bit of a learning curve for me as well in the commentary box. It will all come with time. It will all come with time. Everyone will know what the deal is and how we are going. 11 of you wonderful, wonderful, lovely members of the SFR family watching along with this evening's race. We really, really do appreciate all of the support you guys do consistently give Supreme Formula Racing. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. If you do feel like you want to try and support this stream, support the community, support the channel any more, if you have got Amazon Prime, you are able to use a Twitch Prime subscription. If you would like to use it on SFR, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated by everyone here in SFR. Any revenue that SFR do earn from Twitch goes back into the league, trying to improve the quality of the streams and the content that we are able to pump out here at SFR. All of that support you do give is greatly, graciously appreciated, even if it is just following and then watching along with the streams as well, as it does help us get a little bit higher up the search pages in the world of Twitch, which obviously then opens the door for more fans to be able to jump in and see what we can do. 8 minutes left of this race here in Zolder. TES Bowen leads the way. About to start lap number 28. There he goes. In fact, no, I think it's 28 laps completed, so it's lap 29 now for TES Bowen. I believe. Let's jump on board with Mr. TES Bowen. Let you have a listen to the Aston Martin. There we go. Just a little bit of an idea as to what you can get. Oh yeah, that's an easy way of doing it. So yes, TES Bowen is on 28 laps along with F1XL Norris, who's just crossed the line. Dom the Noodle has completed 27 laps along with Papa Goose and Hoo Hoo Q. 26 laps completed for Alpaca Carbon, 24 for Kirby Just Geordie, and then 23 for Sambo. Total time so far is 53 minutes and 31 seconds for Mr. TES Bowen. Very, very good race from Jamie so far. So we come into the final 6 minutes of this race. How have you enjoyed your little escapade to the comms box, Mr. Sainz?
Quite enjoyed it, actually. It might not be the best, that's for sure. But, no. I suppose it was kind of good, I suppose, for you. I was supposed to have someone in here that had driven the track and, yeah, obviously, like we said multiple times, has bitched out. Put it that way. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been good. I hope I've provided some somewhat good entertainment for the chat.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone in the chat was greatly appreciative of you coming in. I certainly was. Coming in and giving me a hand in the comms box this evening. And I'm sure Norris will definitely love you for your constant reminders that he is a Liverpool fan and Jeff from the world of F1 is his best mate.
That is correct.
Dom the Noodle here trying to hunt down F1XL Norris, but he's got a bit of a big old gap to try and make up. According to the timing screens there is 86 seconds up the road. So a minute and 20 seconds ahead is Mr. F1XL Norris. So a lot of work for Noodle to be able to do to try and catch back up to Mr. F1XL Norris. 4.5 minutes left of this race. We have just crossed midnight in Zolder. Thank you, Sarah.
Also-
I really appreciate it.
Also, I believe this is Norris's first race. Correct me if I'm
It
wrong.
is. It's
Oh.
Norris's first competitive race in a league setting, anyway.
My boy.
For Mr. Norris, so he'll be very, very happy with his performance so far. Have a quick look. Who's going to be the unlucky, poor, unfortunate soul to miss out on points? It looks like it is at the moment, unfortunately, going to be Sambo. Everyone else is going to pick up points, but the man I earmarked for a potential win this evening has not had the best of races. Mr. Alpaca Carbon, down in 6th place. Really not had a good race this evening. I think the start of the race definitely hurt Alpaca, obviously getting into that little spin and fortunately making contact with his teammate. And the 30-second stop go, if you take that into account, put 30 seconds ahead of his time, he'd be right on the gearbox of a Hoo Hoo Coo for P5, so definitely not the best of races for Mr. Alpaca Carbon.
100%.
Going to potentially be a nice little podium to have conversations with this evening. I wonder how many times Jackson is going to remind Norris about the Liverpool thing.
Someone
Jackson
start a
quite a
counter
lot.
already.
Get a counter at the ready. Because it's probably going to be double figures.
Times by about 5. So
There we go. So there is Mr. Leclerc. Mr. Leclerc crossing the line with 2 minutes and about 10 seconds left of this race.
and he's gonna. Will he lap Dom again? It's right. It looks like he will.
Where is Dom? Dom is just coming around towards turn 4 now, and Leclerc is just finishing turn 3. So there is a corner between TES Bowen / Leclerc and Dom the Noodle, which could potentially mean that Dom has a lot of work to do if he wants to try and get P2. It's going to be very, very hard. By comparison, there is F1 XL Norris coming up to Jackie X Bend, which is turn 10. Final turn here at the circuit Zolder. There is TES Bowen coming through the turn 7 section of Termalen Bend, or Termalen Bock to give it its official name from the circuit Zolder. And Chloe is suffering a power cut. Unlucky. There is Norris taking turn 4 now. Dom the Noodle coming up to Jackie X Bend turn 10. And there is Bowen just behind him.
Play nice, Alfie. No need to be a cheeky little bugger.
Here we go. 35 seconds left. The leader is on his final lap. This is the final lap of the race here in Zolder. It looks like it could well be back-to-back wins for TES Bowen, providing nothing catastrophic happens for the Aston Martin driver here. It is going to be an Aston Martin 1-2. Big points there for the Aston Martin team in the team's championship.
But as they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Indeed, it is not, but the time has now expired. We are now on the final lap. The timer is done. There is Dom the Noodle at the front of the screen. TES Bowen just behind. TES Bowen leading the race here in Zolder, looking to potentially lap Noodle before this race is done. Getting ever closer to that Mercedes of Dom the Noodle. Is he going to be able to grab that overtake on Noodle? Noodle's not going to make it easy for him. Oh no, he is. He moves over to the right, lets TES Bowen pass, and that is going to be Bowen ahead of Mr. Dom the Noodle. As he comes round for the last time, just for the sake of Dom, the Boulder Berghaarspeld-Bocht of turn 8. Going up to Jackie X Bend. For the final time, TES Bowen takes the final turn here at the Circuit Zolder, and is going to make it back-to-back wins here in SFR ACC Season 1. TES Bowen wins the race here in Zolder. Dom the Noodle does cross the line in 3rd place. We're going to see where Mr. Norris is. Mr. Norris is just coming around, but now, which of course is turn 6 into the Terlamenbocht section here of turns 7, or the complex of 7. It's not which one turn, it's a series of turns. Alpaca Carbon does cross the line in 6th place. I think Alpaca will be quite disappointed with that, Jackson. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. After a good quali, he had a bit of a, I suppose, car error or drive over. We don't know what it was, but at the start there. But yeah, I think he'll be disappointed. But he did well to claw back from what it was.
He did indeed, and here comes your boy Jackson, the one you tipped for a podium this season. He's gonna make it a podium on his debut here in SFR, F1 XL Norris rounds out the podium here in Zolder with a second place finish on debut. Papa Goose does finish in fourth. Hoo Hoo Koo is now on his way up to Jackie Expend now. TM Kirby has crossed the line in 7th. Just Geordie crosses the line in 8th. And Hoo Hoo Koo will come up to the line, cross the line now, and that will be the end of proceedings here in Zolder. Let's have a little picture there for all of the social media things that need to be done. Massive well done to all drivers involved. Jackson is shown as a driver. He will get a did not start next to his name for P11. But I'll add him to the standards graphic anyway, because why not?
Why not?
I'm nice like that. So he can get a did not start.
I can't get a 0.5 point. Can't get half a point. Participation? No. Okay.
Fortunately not, my friend. It was definitely worth a try. What we'll do is we'll just wait for everything to officially reset itself. And there is Carbon Gaming. Michael not happy with the race and how things have gone. Matty is in chat. GG on the P2, Matty. We will get you into the party in just a second. Just going to make sure that the server does definitely reset itself properly. You're saying that I can leave thinking about it because I don't have to worry about that. Not will, it's right, Mr. Jackson, do you want to get the guys into the party with us?
I can definitely do that.
Thank you very much, my friend. What we will do is we will go to the Mercedes AMG GT3. Is this the one I've got Dom the Noodle Poodle with? Where is it? There it is. It's not the correct car because he has changed the colour scheme and didn't tell me the colour scheme before he started racing. But we'll put that up anyway. he knows that that's directed at him. He knows that that's directed at him. So we've got the guys jumping into the party now. We'll start with Dom. We will start with Dom the Noodle Poodle. Once I've just yeeted that wanna become famous bot from the chat. Obviously not the livery, not the livery of the car that you drove this evening, Dom. But of course it is the car, the Mercedes AMG GT3 2020. How did your race go, my friend? In your opinion?
I'm trying to find words that I can use without using my foul language. The only way I can describe it, within the first 10 minutes I had mild engine damage. Within 40 minutes I had severe engine damage and was nursing that car back to the finish line.
Yes, of course, you did. For those who aren't sure what Dom means by the engine damage, he did unfortunately get caught up in the the manic start is probably the easiest way of putting it.
The engine damage was from violently downshifting and bouncing the driver limiter constantly. I was trying to keep with Adam, who, fair play, tried his best. I can testify to the fact that his brakes were shot, mine were terrible. So there was I had a balance of unable to engine brake, and I was unable to use my regular brakes. So my braking was like a good 100 meters earlier than it was supposed to be. So the fact that I came home on the podium is nothing short of a massive accomplishment for myself and the Mercedes constructors.
Indeed, it was. It's, my thinking is correct. That's your second. That is back-to-back third places for you here in the ACC Championship. Obviously, 2 weeks' time, we will be over at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya over in Spain. You're looking to obviously try and improve on that third and get yourself maybe a little bit higher up the podium come the end of that race?
It would be nice, knowing that, you know, the period of time in which we're doing the next race at Barcelona is usually when people decide to go on their, you know, end of summer holiday with their kids. So it's usually really, really hot out there. So there's like I'd personally say like a 99% chance that it's going to be hot and sunny, which then puts basically everyone that was on the grid tonight back in contention. You've seen me in F1. I'm not a master of F1 in the wet, but I can manage it pretty well. And tonight I managed to do the same thing, so that's what put me on the podium. Do good wet races. So it'll be interesting to see how I cope in the dry, especially against such a strong grid. I would like to improve on it. You know, knowing that Alpaca Carbon's now moved to wheels, so he's going to take that adjustment period. Papa Goose is a strong fight. If Big Will turns up next week, not next week, in 2 weeks' time, him and that Porsche have gelled really well together. So yeah, it would be nice to put myself on the top step. But I mean, it's an hour race. Anything can happen. As you saw tonight, I had an incident in T1 literally off the start. I had an incident about 25 minutes in, and then I got punted by, I think it was Sambo, about 40 minutes in, give or take. So, yeah, it's an endurance race. Anything can happen, and I'm not going to rule myself out, but I'm also not going to say that, you know, I am top step for definite.
Fair enough. Mr. Jackson, anything from you, my friend?
The fact that he drove well from the start. Actually, I've got one question for you. Do you think if there was maybe, say, another 5-10 minutes that you might have been able to catch Norris for that second? Do you think you could have unlapped yourself and potentially passed him?
So there was a bit of a dilemma. If I say, okay, yeah, no engine damage at all, and there was an extra 10 minutes, I'd have caught it. I'd have been able to engine brake a lot easier. I'd have been able to use all of my braking power as well, along with it, and I'd have caught him. I personally believe. Whether he believes it or not is a different story. However, I did say to Leclerc, Jamie, I said to him, at the end of the day, if you catch me, I'm not fighting it. I can't fight it. I don't have the engine power, so just take it, mate. It's all yours. Which is why, as soon as he pulled up on me, I hit the indicator, pulled off to the right, and let him go past, because there was just point. It would have caused an accident. He'd have got angry. I'd have got angry, and we probably wouldn't have talked for a few hours. And Football Manager later on would be slightly awkward.
Fair enough. That's all I have for you.
There we go. Congratulations on the third place, Dom. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to move on to our second place. But I think I'm not going to say a single word of this one, because I know that there is a very, very, very excited TES Science that wants to have a chat with an F1 XL Norris. He was a man that he tipped at the start of this race to get himself on the podium at some point this season, but he's got himself a second place in his debut race. Mr. Science, over to you to interview Norris.
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to you, Mr. Norris. I know you've not long picked up the game. You drove extremely well. You did the whole Liverpool Football Club very proud, and Jeff's very happy. See you later. So tell us how your race went.
I'll say thank you for the congratulations, but the Liverpool and Jeff bit up yours. I was running late, so I wasn't able to grab a setup, so I managed to speak to Jamie really quickly, and he sent me over a setup which was spot on. A few little changes here and there. Qualifying, it's as you said, first time picking this game up. I've been on it a little bit to practice and get my stuff up and everything, but this being my first league race for it, it was a bit nervous going into it, because I've watched a few times of the lads that have been on it, that are racing with them, know what they're doing on it, so it was a case of I need to throw myself in there and make myself known to them to know that, yes, one, I'm new to the game. Don't give me any leeway. Fight me as much as you can, and I will try my best to come back at you and everything. And the race itself, I offered Tice to turn it to a dry setup, but he wouldn't take it. So, wet it was. First time on the wet circuit as well. It made it even more nerve-wracking. Turn 1, there was a few little incidents there, but managed to just pick my way through it and open up little gaps here and there. Caught Dom with a few of his mistakes, but then he started pulling away, and then he had obviously had his incidents. There was a little coming together between me and one of the other new drivers, but that was down to the second chicane being an absolute big puddle there, and he lost it, and I caught him, but a little bit of light damage, but managed to keep the car going. Unfortunate for Adam, who done amazing to get up to first and keep it up there. Then he came in, he had a little bit of trouble, which then gifted me P2. And then it was a case of keep my head down, keep going, and keep battling on to stay on the lead lap, I guess. Because Jamie is just absolutely rapid. And it was a case of, yep, try not to get lapped in your first league race. And I didn't. I could brought it home for P2 for the Aston Martins to extend our constructors title.
Yeah, that is very good. I suppose you kind of shocked me with your pace. That is for sure. You lasted longer than I did. I lasted about 30 minutes in practice and was like, "Yep, I'm done with this." So congratulations on that part.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, we'll have to send the stewards over to Claire's car and get the engine looked at. Obviously, it was might not pass the FIA rules. But anyway, is there anything that you want to ask him, Kieran?
No, I think you hit all the questions where they needed to be asked, Mr. Science. So, but a massive congratulations, Matty, obviously on debut, picking yourself up a podium, a second place nonetheless, on a game that you've not driven for too long. You've only had this game a couple of weeks, so massive respect there for coming in relatively new to the game and putting your car on the second step of the podium. Hopefully we'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time at the Circuits de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain, where we'll hopefully see you do it all again.
I will definitely be there. And to answer Dom's question as well, to believe if you could catch me, nah.
I'll have you next time, mate. I'll have you next time. That's a promise.
And it begins.
And there it is. The mind
Tune in
games
2 weeks' time.
have started
Battle
already.
Yeah.
Mind games have
Gonna be a good one.
started already, but yeah, massive congratulations, Manny, for that P2. And I can actually keep the car that's on screen up on screen because it's actually the car that was driven by our race winner, back-to-back winner here in SFR ACC, Mr. TES Bowman. Jamie, congratulations.
I know, it's good to be back and yeah, feeling good.
It was,
Pole position as well.
Yeah, well, pole position with the win. I want to talk about the start of the race. It seems a little bit manic. It's probably the easiest way to explain it. I know you lost quite a few positions quite quickly. Got yourself into a little bit of a tangle with Alpaca Carbon due to some sort of over-aggressive driving, we'll say, from some of the other drivers.
Yeah, it
Did
wasn't
that knock you in any way?
Not really. And about the aggressive driving, it wasn't aggressive driving. The track was flooded. People hitting puddles, just sending their car into oblivion and into other cars. Unfortunately, it's a part of racing. As you know, we had a new steward inquiry this week, which actually worked really well. So I think that's what we're going to do from going forwards. But yeah, it's just the puddles that happened to begin with. No one was over aggressive. Everyone was clean as they could be, and it's just the puddles and how low some of the cars and the setups were aquaplaning, and you're a passenger at that point. So yeah, no one's at fault for any of the collisions tonight. There was no intentional taking people out, which is good to see.
Indeed, definitely is good to see. Obviously, you did unfortunately get knocked around a little bit there at the start, which we say did drop you down a few positions. You had to fight yourself back through the pack. Obviously, passing Adam Lee, who then unfortunately did have his own issues, which wasn't ideal, which sort of gave you the ability to inherit an additional place up into the lead of the race. Obviously, yourself and Matty came in at a similar sort of time to serve your pit stops, which temporarily gave Dom the lead. Was that ever a worry, or were you quite confident that following your mandatory pit stop you'd be able to catch up to Dom and regain the lead?
I was pretty confident, to be fair. I'm pretty sure I even got the fastest lap as well. I just kept finding pace, and I don't know if Matty was the same, but this Aston just kept on going, didn't have any issues at all. It was just absolutely brilliant today, and yeah, I feel like I would have been able to pass Dom, not easily, but more easily than other people, I'd say. And I was catching Adam Lee when he was well out in front as well, so I felt I had good pace and just kept it consistent. Wasn't really saying much, and I was just focusing on my own driving to keep it on track, because it was treacherous and it was worse than practice out there towards, well, probably for the last half an hour of the race.
I'd say a good 75% of the race.
Yeah, it cleared up a little bit, and then it just came down again. So just focusing on keeping it on track, picking the battles wisely, and yeah, not hitting anyone.
And of course, you were saying that the conditions worsened as the race progressed. Obviously, that does then fall alongside with the drop in temperature because of the time. Of course, it was a simulated period of time, so it wasn't an hour of pure racing. It was accelerated through, so it's why the race did finish in the early hour, what would have been the early hours of the morning. When you're in that sort of that nighttime phase of racing, does it change your mindset in any way? Have you got to sort of think a little bit more about braking zones, braking points, being aware of the drivers that are around you, or is it sort of just same as it's been prior to the nighttime racing?
I think it does change, because obviously the track conditions, temperature-wise, drop. The air temperature drops as well, so it's going to increase braking zones, and of course your tyres are no longer where they were 20 minutes ago, and it is a big change. Obviously Matty's probably the best person to ask that question to, because he's brand new. How different the track feels at night. It feels like you're driving at a completely different circuit. But yeah, it does cross your mind, and it's just like, okay, but I can't let the tyres drop below this amount of pressure or this temperature, otherwise the car becomes undrivable. But thankfully for me, I'm one of the other Aston boys who joined me on the podium. Their setup was good, and didn't have any issues.
Here we go, Matthew, if
But
you are still here.
Alpaca still
I am
got
still here.
points, which is helping Aston Martin in the standings in general anyway. So well done for sticking it out.
Yeah, of course, all three of the Aston Martin drivers do pick up points this evening as well. Alpaca probably not as many as he would have liked, but still points on the board. But going to what Jamie was saying, we will quickly ask you, Matthew, before we go back to Jamie. How was it tougher to drive as the temperature dropped and we got towards that nighttime racing?
Yeah, definitely. I was keeping an eye on my tyres after I'd made my pit stop, and coming out, I got the temperatures up, but then as it started getting further into the night, my temperature on my tyres was just dropping. So it was a case of look after the tyres as best as I can, try and keep the heat into them with it happening, and it didn't help with the wind as well, because it was a case of trying to keep the back end steady as well, because there was a bit of a wind into turn 1 and one of the chicanes, I believe. So the temperatures, they were okay, but it was a case of managing because it was dropping like mad. But as Jamie said, managed to keep it on the track and managed to keep the car as steady as we possibly could on a track that was absolutely soaked.
Indeed it was. Mr. Jackson, have you got anything for our race winner in Mr. Jamie?
Really, there's nothing you really can ask him. You asked all the questions as it was, but anything I've got to say to him is well done. Thanks to making one of, I suppose I'd picked 2 out of my 3 predictions and they got right, and it was you and Mr. Norris. So, well done. You deserved it. You drove extremely well. So,
Thank you very much.
congratulations.
I'm intrigued. Who was the
Thank you
third?
for commentating.
That's alright. My third pick was Michael to podium, Alpaca. So,
Fair enough.
Yes, Mr.
So
Might
if you
surprise
think,
you then.
Aston 1, 2, 3.
Science
Yeah.
genuinely predicted
There's-
an Aston 1-2-3. I didn't.
There's
I'll be honest.
oh, go on, Kieran. What were your predictions?
I went for an Aston 1-3 with you splitting them, Mr. Dom.
Yeah, I tried. There's only a few things I can say about the car difference tonight. That Aston, due to the fact that it's a lot shorter than this, means that all the weight is held in a smaller area, meaning that they can cut through puddles a lot easier. Whereas, by the time our front wheel's on the puddle, it's already started to slip and the whole car starts to go with it. Yeah, the Aston was just perfect tonight, and I genuinely couldn't do anything to hold them off. Yeah, massive congratulations to Norris as well for picking up a podium on his first race in ACC. So,
Thank you very much. I take it.
I am beating you next time.
The thing people need to learn about this racing series, it is a marathon.
It is indeed.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
It's a marathon, mate.
Did comment on that at the start. I did say this is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And of course, in about 6 to 8 weeks' time, it will become even more of a marathon because, of course, we will be at the Nürburgring and we will be doing twice the race distance that we have done this evening. So we're a 2-hour race of the Nürburgring in round 6. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. But that is going to bring us to the end of our broadcast here this evening. A massive, massive thanks to every single one of you for popping along and watching the stream. The guys over here at SFR really, really do appreciate all of the support that you do continue to show us on a stream-by-stream basis. We will be live again tomorrow night, 8 PM UK time will be when everything starts getting itself underway properly. It will be myself and Swayze back in the comms box for round 3 of season 5 of SFR F1. We will be at the Marina Bay circuit in Singapore, so be sure to come and have a watch of that. We will be back with some ACC in a couple of weeks' time, where, as I say, we will be at the circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain. So hopefully we will see you all then. A massive thank you to TES Sites for jumping into the comms box
Anytime.
with me this evening at very short notice. It is greatly appreciated, my friend, and hopefully we will have you back on track in a couple of weeks and you won't have to sit in a party with me chatting absolute rubbish for 2.5 hours on a Friday night.
Should be right. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, my friend. But yeah, that is going to wrap everything up, guys. Massive thanks to you for all of you for watching. We will see you tomorrow for F1. Until then, from myself, Kieran Wright 92 and TES Science, thank you for watching, guys, and good night.